Hi, this is Joe Jacobson at Wycombe Wanderers, and you're listening to Wycombe Sound.
The Wycombe Wanderers Show.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Wycombe... I nearly forgot to speak then.
I always wonder with Joe Jacobson, does he really hate the franchise too? I will ask him that one day when I get to interview him.
Does he what, sorry?
You don't know what I'm on about, do you? Because you're not a regular attendee at Adams Park because you're normally ready to read the football results. So the end of JJ's chant goes, and he hates the franchise too.
Oh, okay.
Which, if you've met Joe Jacobson, he's the nicest man in football, so I don't really think that's true.
He probably doesn't hate anything.
I think it's a bit of poetic licence on the part of the people who chant it.
Thank you for explaining that.
There you are.
I didn't get Ed Ball's Day either.
No. I'm surprised you didn't know about Ed Ball's Day. Happy Ed Ball's Day to everyone listening around the world.
Coming up on the Wycombe Wanderers Show, the ways I didn't think the show would start. Number 1,271. We'll hear from Wycombe Wanderers manager Gareth Ainsworth, as you'd expect. Post Sheffield Wednesday, we'll hear from Sam Vokes. We'll hear from Matt Bloomfield. We'll hear from a presentation with a difference as well to David Stockdale, who won a unique award.
He did, yes, and we will also be mentioning the awards that were given out today by the official Wycombe Wanderers Supporters Association and the Wycombe Wanderers Independent Supporters Club.
Excellent.
I always like the fact that there's two and that they haven't actually merged. You wonder if there's any pressure from anyone like, well, why don't we just sort of merge and make one? But no, there's still two independent supporters clubs, and they've been up to the training ground today to give the awards out for Player of the Season and Young Player of the Season.
One very much independent of the other.
Yeah, indeed, yes.
Also, we'll be catching up with member of the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association, Michael Knox, who you might know as a former Bucks Free Press sports editor from the late 70s to the early 80s. We'll be looking with him at how far the club has come.
Does that mean that one day we might actually be able to be members of the Ex-Players Association as well?
Possibly.
Well, that would be exciting, wouldn't it?
Very much looking forward to that. Also, we'll hear from the head of the Wycombe Wanderers Sports and Education Trust, who's taking some considerable cycling distance under his cycling belt. Is there a cycling belt?
Well, when is he leaving for Burton?
Tonight, or is it tomorrow? Tomorrow. Word has just reached me. Tomorrow.
You see, I'm so, because I would have sort of like assumed that would maybe take a week or something like that. So I'm impressed that he's leaving sort of, so soon, considering that the game is 12:30 on Saturday.
Well, you'll hear in the chat, but I think he's anticipating it taking 14 hours.
Okay. Whereas, yes, it would take you and I...
considerably longer.
Indeed.
So you were out to the game, obviously, on...
I was.
I say obviously, you wouldn't have missed it, would you?
No, definitely not.
You were part of the 9,005.
I was, yes. I was number 9,003, apparently. And I was very near the 100 plus Spanish visitors who made such a fantastic noise and just throughout the whole game ensured that there was a brilliant atmosphere. It was a great idea as well, seating them down towards the terrace, because the terrace fed off their chanting and then they fed off the terrace chanting, and so it meant that actually you basically had a wall of noise for the whole 90 minutes, which I don't think I can really ever remember at Adams Park. Even in some of the really, really crucial games, it was very, very impressive and fantastic, and I'm sure probably helped ensure that we got all 3 points, because goodness me, it wasn't an easy game.
Every club should have a Spanish contingent that turns up in the last game of the season.
Well, about every game of the season.
Ideally.
Could we find a bit of cash to maybe instead of having some fireworks, could we just bring over the Spaniards every game?
The carbon footprint wouldn't be great, though.
Well, no, okay, that's true, it wouldn't.
How would you sum up the game?
I would sum it up as a fantastic win, and one that, for bits of the first half, didn't really look at all likely. Sheffield Wednesday were very good, and were quite dominant during the first half, and I was very much sitting there thinking if we manage to get in at 0-0, then that will be some achievement. It was a lot more even in the second half, to be honest, and eventually we got the breakthrough. A lot of it down to Daryl Horgan, but he passed the ball very unselfishly to Jordan Abita, who made sure that he finished, and we saw it out, even though it was very, very nervous, and goodness me, we could have done without 7 minutes of added on time, and it was one of those again that you did feel a little bit like we said about the AFC Wimbledon game, that had the time wasting been the other way round, it probably would have been about 4 minutes. But of course, because it's us, it's then 7 minutes. So those 7 minutes, they took a good couple of days to go past. But yes, but we did the job that we had to do. We won the game.
Let's get the thoughts of the manager speaking to Phil afterwards.
Nothing more than we deserve, after we rode the first half like we did. I told the boys at half time I wanted to tell them how to play the first half better, but I thought, what's the point in that? Because we're now in the second half. You've got to tell them how to win the second half, and I think that riding the storm in that first half was really important, and it was really a game of two halves. The wind played a huge factor today. We couldn't really get past the Sheffield Wednesday defence first half, but second half I knew we'd have chances. I knew we'd create because the conditions, it's hard, and we put a full press on them second half, so they couldn't get behind us. And Chris Farino and Tafazol, they had to win their headers, which they did. We really stepped on them, and it's a brilliant goal to score. I think my son will call it a sweaty goal. I think that's what they call it on FIFA now. So, but it was a brilliant run from Horgs and an awareness that he's got. What a great assist, and Jordan Obita, the goal scorer. But I thought we edged it, but it could have been a draw easily. Sheffield have come and they're a championship side. Every player is championship calibre in their team, so that makes that result so sweet for us. Tough game today, and the table is absolutely mental. I can't believe we're on 80 points and we are where we are. What a mental league this is, but really proud. I said judges after 46. You can start judging after 45 if you want, because 80 points is phenomenal in this division. But we need that 3 points next Saturday to stay in these playoffs, and we want to finish in the playoffs. We want to do it for the fans. There's some tough games coming up, other fixtures elsewhere. If we don't get in on 83 points, then I don't know what more we'd have to do. 84 obviously, but it's been a great season and a brilliant end. The fans were fantastic, the place was full. That's what we can do when this place is rocking, so thank you to everyone who got behind us today.
In a game that was just incredibly frenetic, fast-paced, the calmness of Wycombe's goal will really please you with the quality of the attacking play.
That's what my message at half-time was. Can we get on the ball a little bit more? I thought first half we tried to go a little bit long when it was on to play. Listen, people bill us as direct, people bill us as physical. Darren Moore's picked the biggest team he possibly could today, I saw that. And they've tried to step up and gone against us, but there's other ways to win that game. That one of the smallest players on the pitch has got through and squared a fantastic ball. We needed to really weather that storm first half because we weren't getting out, but second half, some real good composure, some real good moments on the ball. This place is developing and we're growing as a football club. We've changed our style, even though everyone tells me we haven't. We have, and we need to keep progressing because it's a fantastic place to be. And with the Cougs in charge, there's only one way for this football club, and it's up.
Well, enjoy this week if you can, and we'll speak later in the week ahead of Burton.
Can't wait, Phil. Let me calm down. I'm meant to be singing tonight at a party, but maybe there'll be a bit of, AC/DC with this hoarseness. That's all I can manage. But no, brilliant. Thank you to everyone who's supported us, everyone who's got behind us today and all through the season at home at Adams Park. We're going to need a big travelling contingent on the way to Burton. We're going to need you up there. Like I say, a little bit of slice of luck might just get us over the line. Still got a job to do.
Gareth's voice really being tested this week, because you'll hear it later on in the...
And he's got what he wanted as well, because the Burton game, of course, has sold out. So if you were planning on going to Burton on Saturday and you haven't got a ticket, then sorry, you'll have to stay at home, follow it at home.
Sam Vokes also spoke to Phil after the game.
It was a tough afternoon. Feelings when a whistle went were more of a relief, I think, as everyone else thought around the ground. But I thought the boys were brilliant. Like I say, it probably wasn't our greatest performance this year, but we made it hard for them coming here. Fans are brilliant. They're still in it now, singing behind me. So the fans are brilliant, and hopefully we've got a lot more to play for this year.
You were heavily involved in the goal as well, the flick down to Darryl Horgan.
Yeah.
I was saying to Gareth just now in our interview, in a frenetic game, the goal looked very calm and well worked.
I think it was, and sometimes in those frenetic games, like you say, it takes that one bit of quality to break a team down, and Darryl did brilliant to run off my flick on, and to the composure. I don't know if I've quite got that composure in me. I was probably shooting in that position, but to do that in that heated moment to find Jordan was amazing, and like I say, it takes that bit of quality to win a game sometimes.
Are you aware, as players, even on the bench and everyone connected to the club, are you aware of what's going on around the country with the other games at the same time?
No, not at all. Although we might need it next weekend by the sounds of things. So, look, it's always been about us looking after our own job, and to get 3 points today was massive. And going into next week, it could be even bigger, I think.
It felt like a cup tie in the build-up to the game, during the game. It was almost a playoff quarter-final for Wycombe and a vital win. Is that a different sense of mentality for you as a player when you think this is a league game, but actually we've just got to win this one?
Yeah, I think we knew going into it how big it was, and that we needed to win it, no matter what happens elsewhere. And we did that. We got the job done, and on to the next one. It's a huge one next week, of course. They're no easy team. They got a result last week against Rotherham, I think it was. So it's going to be another tough game, but we'll enjoy today and look forward to that next week.
Is it a case of just get the 3 points, worry about anyone else after that and see what happens?
Exactly that, yeah, exactly that. And it's going to be a tough game next week, but one we're looking forward to, and I think it's 10 or 11 unbeaten now, so we couldn't be hitting form at a better time going into that, and hopefully a few more games after that.
Still quite breezy at Adams Park there.
It was, wasn't it?
More wind to come as well.
And yeah, he's not wrong either. Burton did beat Rotherham 2-0 on the 19th of April. Ooh. But then they lost to Doncaster 2-0. So
yeah,
it's not,
very up and down.
Exactly, very, very unpredictable.
Bob will give you some details about some awards which have been handed out. But first...
the most important award of all.
Pre-kick-off on Saturday with Rob Show live from the ground. I don't think this really needs explaining, does it? Because this will explain it all. David Stockdale was...
I trust you and your editing skills.
Was spoken to.
It's only a karaoke when I'm saying.
You can do karaoke if you want to.
Right.
No, how are you? All good?
I'm alright, yeah.
We have a little present for you.
Oh,
yeah, that's a nice present. It's a nice present. Yeah, we don't do nasty presents here. We have a little gift for you.
Because I don't know if you saw on Twitter, but we have named you after your very funny advert that you've done us. We have named you Best Chairboys Advert 2021 to 2022.
Oh, yeah.
And also, I heard this might be a favourite of yours.
Oh.
Can I do this before the game?
Well, up to you, but don't tell Gareth.
I'll have to gaff it again.
But also,
drop it,
but thank you as well for your support for the Wycombe Sound as well this year.
No worries.
So big thank you.
Well, at least I've won something this year.
There you go. You can go into the changing room now and go, look. I
might stick it up, you know.
Yeah, I think you should.
That might be a reminder.
Yeah.
Shame we've done all our votes to play this season.
You could have got a few extra votes. But then for next season, competition now to win it again next year.
I don't think anyone can come close.
No, I don't think they will be. No.
I think
there's a lot of very stiff voices, isn't there?
You were the only person that ad-libs.
Yeah. There's no, like, Yorkshire twang about it.
No.
Not many that can get that.
You were the only person that made me laugh while we're recording them. So that was one of the key crucial parts of recording it.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Oh, no, it was very good.
What kind of life you lead with that, with that comment?
We'll play it in a second just to embarrass you properly.
Yeah.
Bing bong. Calling the people of High Wycombe. It's David Stockdale, number 13, here from Wycombe Wanderers. Not sure what to do this Saturday? Get yourself down to Adams Park. We continue our League One campaign. Bring your chanting A game. Help us get all 3 points. Tickets are now available at tickets.wwfc.com. See you there.
The bar has been set.
It really has. It was the way that he read it and made it sound like he was reading it, which I think is quite a skill, actually.
Well done.
Yes. Congratulations, Stocko. We were very impressed.
We look forward to next season.
We do. We really do, yes.
Much to look forward to.
Please don't go anywhere else, because we'll be very disappointed if you do.
Luke also got some fantastic post-match interviews as well. We'll hear from David Stockdale in a few moments' time. But first team coach, I believe we call him now, Matt Broomfield, spoke to Luke afterwards as well.
I thought the boys were magnificent. Slightly against the wind. There was a little bit of a wind first half, and I reckon that, in my view, that Sheffield Wednesday were maybe slightly more in the ascendancy. But we saw that through and got to half-time. We knew that the game would change second half, and I thought the mentality of the boys and the intensity and the resilience that they showed to keep going second half, and the quality of the goal was brilliant, and I think it just summed up our season really, the way the boys dug in for each other, and we were a real team out there, and they saw it through. So big 3 points for us.
You've been here for a long time. What did it feel for you to have, a nearly, I'm not allowed, Pete's told me off for calling it a full, but nearly full Adams Park?
Yeah, it was incredible. It's just so special to see this ground full, when we have these days and everyone turns up, and everyone with the grounds like you say, near on full. There's not a spare seat in the house, and it was absolutely rocking today, and it's just so good to see so many Wycombe fans in this stadium, and us providing days like today for everybody. So people missed out on so much during COVID and the last couple of years, so to be able to enjoy days like today is it's really special, because that's what the sport's all about. It's making memories and those relationships you build along the way. So hopefully people have made some big memories today, and we're looking forward to hopefully we've got to go to Burton next week and try and get another result.
As I say, a big week ahead.
There's a really big week ahead. We've got to enjoy it today. Of course we have, because it's all about the supporters and letting them enjoy the last home league game of the season, but we've got to prepare now and get our mind straight on Burton next week and get ready to put in another performance, because that's what we need.
We spoke before the game. You said just another day at the office. What a day at the office.
Yeah, great day, but same outcome. Yeah. That's what we want, another 4 of them.
Big week ahead. It must have been amazing to see the 9,000 fans that were here today.
Yeah, it's amazing, and you've still got 100 odd Spanish fans that have come over. It just shows you what we can do at this club and the people that we can reach, and sometimes want to see a club that they can dive into, and that's what it means to them to be able to come over. The 9,000 others, we got 2,000 from Sheffield, but we were noisy all day, and it helps.
Yeah, it really does. A big week ahead. What are your thoughts going into next weekend now that 3 points are here today?
Rest and win.
Yeah, pretty much.
Another day at the office, as they say.
And they were both unfortunately blown away after that and rescued from the woodlands.
I'm sure everyone who was there on Saturday listening to that is now thinking, I don't think it was that windy. don't remember it
the
being
wind clearly
that
picked up after the game.
It was impressive as well that you could very much hear that the Spanish fans were still there. And I think the fact that there was a lap of honour after the game meant that it wasn't really obvious when you were meant to leave. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Spanish fans are actually still somewhere in Adams Park, just sort of like, singing and dancing and waving their scarf, because they did the scarf thing.
Oh, yes.
That they do.
Very
sort
European.
Of like, very, very European.
Don't forget you can catch up with more of Saturday's content on the website, listen again feature wycombsound.org.uk, and also on Wanderers TV you can hear those extended interviews with Gareth and also Sam Vokes as well. But next.
Yes, David Stockdale wasn't the only person to get an award, and actually the Wycombe Wanderers Supporters Association and the Wycombe Wanderers Independent Supporters Club were both invited along to the training ground this morning to present their Player of the Year and Young Player of the Year awards, and they unanimously decided that Chris Freno was Young Player of the Year, very, very well deserved, well done Chris, and Josh Scowen, unsurprisingly, was Player of the Year, very, very, very well deserved, and also the number of times this season that you've thought, wow, Josh Scowen's played amazingly, and then they do the bit where they then say, oh, and the sponsors player of the match is, and it's always the person who scored the goal. That happened on Saturday. I think that happened probably the week before. And you think, no, it should have been Josh Scowen a lot of times because he's wonderful. So really good that he got the award. The Players Player of the Year award will be presented tomorrow before the coach departs to Burton, because the team are going up the night before, apparently.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Really nice to think as well. Chris Freno signed, like a year ago, and he was playing for Loughborough University.
Yeah, his whole story about coming along, and he was basically came along to make up the numbers at a trial match. So he wasn't even really one of the trialists who was coming along to be watched. And Gareth liked the look of him, and now he's Young Player of the season. Fantastic, such and also such an inspiring story as well for up and coming footballers.
And fitted in so well at the back too.
Really, really has. Yeah, again, the fact that we've lost Anthony Stewart, or Anthony Stewart's been out for quite a few games, and actually when you've got Chris Freno, it hasn't necessarily mattered.
When you say you'd lost him, I thought...
Where's he gone?
He was... What are your service station stories again?
Indeed, yes.
From last series.
Not quite. And again, going back to Saturday, I think probably I wasn't the only one who, when you then heard that actually, we haven't got Anis Mehmeti and we haven't got Brandon Hanlon, and you were thinking, oh, goodness me, where's the pace going to come from? So the fact that actually we managed to win 1-0 was pretty impressive.
We should reflect a bit on the midweek fixtures as well.
We should indeed,
which was so key as well.
Yes, indeed. I'm sure I wasn't the only one who was mad enough to buy an iFollow pass, remember them, to the game between Fleetwood Town and Sheffield Wednesday, really, really hoping that the COD Army would do us a favour. Well, Sheffield Wednesday scored after about 3 minutes, so straight away I was thinking, oh, well, that's £10 down the drain. Then Fleetwood came back and were leading 2-1 for quite a long time before spectacularly blowing it as Sheffield Wednesday equalised and then scored their third within about 20 seconds of each other. So unfortunately, Sheffield Wednesday won that game. More interestingly, I think, and I know there's probably divided opinions about this result, but I actually think that Sunderland and Rotherham drawing was quite a good thing. I know that it gives Sunderland an extra point in the playoff battle, but the fact that it actually means that the promotion race between Wigan and Rotherham and MK Dons continues, I think for us is very, very good, because I think we definitely wanted the MK Dons to go to Plymouth and have to at least get a result, because had Rotherham won that game, then unless there had been a crazy score on Saturday, Rotherham would have been up and MK Dons definitely would have been in the playoffs. And then you think probably they maybe would have rested a few players against Plymouth and actually wouldn't have been trying as hard. Whereas now they've got to go to Home Park and they've got to get a result. And of the 3 games that we need to go our way, I think that is probably the most likely. So the teams, of course, that we are looking out for now are Sunderland, who are away at Morecambe. Morecambe still aren't safe from relegation, so you can see that they would try, but even so, I can't really see anything other than a Sunderland win for that one. Sheffield Wednesday, home to Portsmouth. You never really know what you're going to get with Portsmouth, do you? And so, again, maybe that might be the result that's going to go our way, but the one that I think hopefully will go our way is definitely Plymouth against MK Dons. Let's hope for once that franchise lot up the north of the county can actually do us a favour.
Still to come in our build-up to the Battle of Burton. Do people are calling it out? It sounds like you studied at school, doesn't it? Do you remember the Battle of Burton, 2022?
It sounds like the name of the film that will come out in several years.
We'll get the thoughts of manager Gareth Ainsworth in the final part of the show here at Wycombe Sound.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Still to come on the Wycombe Wanderers Show, we'll be hearing from Paul Foley from the Wycombe Wanderers Sports and Education Trust, who is taking a rather interesting route to Burton. And we'll also be hearing, of course, from manager Gareth Ainsworth ahead of Saturday's crucial game.
But first, we're speaking to a member of the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association and former sports editor of the Bucks Free Press. Michael Knox joins us, who's at the paper covering Wycombe in the late 70s through to the early 80s. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Hello, Colin. Yeah.
It's a real pleasure to speak to you, and I guess a real kind of interesting time to see, how far the club has come in that, next season potentially we could be playing Everton or indeed someone like Sutton.
Yes, well, that takes me back to the days when they used to go to places like Carshalton and Staines and Hayes and Billericay. So they've come a long way since then. And that was in the days when Mike Keane was manager, former Luton and Queen's Park Rangers legend, who had a sports shop in the town. So I remember him, and he actually led Wycombe to the championship in '83, which was the highlight of my sort of spell covering Wycombe for the Bucks Free Press.
Well, we've spoken to players from that era, and it's incredible to think that, obviously they were still part-time in those days.
They were indeed, yes. But there were certain problems, because I got on very well with Mike Keane, who was a delightful bloke, but they lost 4-1 at Staines Town, and I gave them a real blast in the paper about what a dreadful performance it was. And he wouldn't speak to me for a week, but we got our relations terms back later on.
Oh, it's a fantastic story. Do you have any memories of sort of this time of the season as well? Because, you get to the last games and many teams perhaps, don't have anything to play for or are battling relegation, but to be in this kind of situation...
Well, most of the times I was covering it, they didn't have much going for them, but they did win the title in '83, and I think they won it with a couple of games to spare. But it was always very, very tense. But it'll be nothing like it will be this Saturday, because they're so dependent on other results elsewhere, aren't they?
No, definitely. As we'll hear with speaking to Gareth shortly as well, that they just need to sort of concentrate on their game, I guess, and hope that everything goes their way. But they're in a fantastic, rich vein of form. 11 games unbeaten, and is that something that you've witnessed as well? Some fantastic runs.
That's amazing.
For the teams.
Well, this reminds you of the spell in the 1970s when they dominated the Isthmian League under Brian Lee when he was manager. I didn't cover the team then, but I was on the Bucks Free Press at the time. And I remember certain nights when they had big FA Cup games like Middlesbrough, when Graham Souness was playing and things like that in 1975, which was very memorable. So they were almost as famous for their cup runs in those days as they were for league.
I was going to say, there must be some really memorable cup ties that you recall as well.
That's right, yes. Well, the Middlesbrough one was interesting because Middlesbrough were joint top of the table at the time, and Graham Souness, you could... because they played at Lokes Park, obviously, the sloping pitch, and you could see the anxiety when Souness ran onto the field, as they do, carrying a ball. He rolled the ball, and it went all the way to the far touchline down the slope. And from then on, Wycombe got a great goalless draw out of it and lost 1-0 in the replay at Ayrton Park when Jack Charlton was manager of Middlesbrough. So those are memorable times.
I think it really brings it into perspective, doesn't it, when you consider, as we said sort of in the introduction, as to how far the teams come when they play teams like, some of the places that you mentioned, Billericay, and, I was thinking of sort of Fisher Athletic and people like that, and the sides they're facing these days.
Well, it's amazing. And, they played a lot of them, of course, last year when they went promoted, didn't they? And then unlucky to get relegated. But I see Derby are coming down now. It'd be quite interesting with the relationship between the two clubs if Wycombe went up and Derby went down, wouldn't it?
Definitely. I think quite interesting. Could be
I think is there still some legal action or something that was going to take place?
Yes, I believe so. There's still, yes, could potentially still be.
So it could be that Derby suffer in the end and Wycombe get up, but they'll do well to get them through the playoffs, I think, because there's some pretty good teams there, aren't there?
No, definitely. Are there any particular kind of games that especially stand out that you covered?
Well, I've mentioned that one. Yes, there's one game. They played the league game towards the end of the season. They played Oxford City, who were managed by Bobby Moore.
Oh, of course.
This is, an absolute, World Cup winner. And Wycombe Wanderers actually won 5-3. And I think I spoke to Bobby Moore after the game, and he said, I said it was a manager's nightmare, and he agreed, because their defences were all over the place. But that was a very memorable game. I remember that was in the league towards the end of the season, but they didn't actually win the league that year. But that's a game I remember.
And of course, nowadays it's very easy for fans to get information almost instantly about, sort of team news or anything. But I guess, I hesitate to use the expression in those days.
Absolutely, 40 years ago.
But in those days, you literally had to wait till the paper came out, for example, just to find out, what happened the previous Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everybody read the Bucks Free Press then, which was very good. And we had a midweek edition. And, the circulation of the paper then was about 30 or 40,000. And reports were very well read, and obviously there were, but the full reports that's the first place to go. And of course, the press has changed a lot since then, hasn't it? And and there wasn't the expertise of local radio as there is now either.
Thank you very much. But also, it's fascinating, I'm sure, to sort of reflect on, even things like the training facilities and the preparation for games then.
Yes, well, they're all amateurs, of course. Wycombe Wanderers amateurs, they all had jobs. When 90% of the players there had regular jobs. Tony Horseman, who's one of the legends of the time, who I met the other day on a walk near Downley. He was the record goal scorer for Wycombe. He worked in the furniture trade, and that's he had a nickname Bodger, which is a furniture job. And they were all part time, and they were accountants and factory men and things like that. And so it was a completely different era. And most of the players were local too, which gave you a feeling when you went there you were supporting your local club,
No, definitely. And also kind of added on to that, I guess, obviously, as you say, many of the players had jobs in the travel, especially for midweek games and training as well.
Exactly. They used to have to go, I said Billericay, used to have to go to Billericay all the way across Essex, for a 7:30 start, having done a day's work. And I remember one night when I went off to Billericay, my car broke down on the way there, and I got there about half time, but because I went, I went on the North Circular and South Circular, most of the road in London were roads, not many motorways, no M25 in those days. So it was really, it was great fun. I felt part of the team too, covering them, because they always got a good welcome.
Breaking down on the way to Billericay sounds like some sort of sitcom.
Yeah.
But it was nice, I'm sure, for yourself to have that kind of relationship and rapport, you say, with Mike Keane, and I'm sure many of the players as well.
Exactly. I got to know them. One of my chaps I see a lot is there was a captain called Paul Birdseye. Great name for a captain, wasn't it? Captain Birdseye, who was a defender there, and I still see him on golf days, and there's another defender called Anton Vixhouse who works in Oxford, still working. He was a captain of Wycombe in those days, and they all, I got to know them quite well and see them at golf days and regular things as well. So I kept in touch, which is nice.
And we mentioned that you're a regular, obviously, supporter of the Ex-Players Association as well. Fantastic work that Alan Hutchinson and JDT do.
They do, John, absolutely. And I attend the quizzes, and I go for the golf day at Winter Hill. So I hope a lot of people will enter that. They're always great fun, and they raise money for good funds. But what we have missed, we've obviously had some deaths of several players recently, and two of the ones that I was quite close to, called Mickey Holyfield and Howard Kennedy, who were both midfielders. Both have died in the last few years, and that was very sadly missed.
And I think it's something that we'd like to ask a lot of ex-players and people connected with the club. But what would you say is so special about the club?
It's kept its amateur feel, I feel. It still feels, when I go along, that it's kept its, it feels like, and it doesn't feel like a big organisation, a soulless organisation. It feels like a nice, homely, friendly club. And I still feel, meeting some of the people there who still remember me from 30 or 40 years ago, I think that's the nice. It's a friendliness. It's not got too big for itself. It's kept its head, properly, not got, too pompous or anything like or that. So I think that's the friendly nature of the club, and it's still got a feel of an amateur club. I think, anyway.
No, definitely. I'm sure that's something that people, go to games regularly can relate to as well. And just finally, what would be your message to supporters who, perhaps need to sort of have a bit of perspective sometimes when, they're assessing how the club are doing and perhaps they're calling for the manager because they've had a couple of defeats?
Well, I'd say it'd be absolutely stupid to get rid of Gareth Ainsworth after the work he's done. Just remember where you came from, I would say. A few years ago when Gareth took over, we were nearly out of the league. And now just be happy to be in Division 1 at that level, and anything else is a bonus, I would think.
And especially, spending a season in the Championship, and it's quite likely...
They've done it, and it's hard work, and it's amazing how they've done, and I just hope the owners continue to support Wycombe, because they always seem to be, they've been very well supported in the last few years, and let's hope that continues.
And seeing where the club has come from, you must be very excited for the future as well.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know. I'm excited with the present.
No, absolutely.
That's the main thing, I think.
No, it's been a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you very much indeed for your time.
Okay. Cheerio.
Great to chat to you. Michael Knox, former sports editor at the Bucks-Free Press, speaking to us here at Wycombe Sound. Really interesting chatting to Michael. On next week's show, I can tell you we'll be chatting to Nathan Tyson.
Ooh!
Is the correct response. We didn't rehearse that or anything. Really looking forward to catching up with him. He was no, really. He was at the Plymouth game, of course, on Good Friday.
He was, yes, yeah.
A quick mention as well for if you want to catch up on the Listen Again feature on the website with Rob's show live from Adams Park on Saturday. TJ DeBar and Adam Leathers, well worth a listen.
Leathers. That's a chant that hasn't caught on yet. But it might do one day, you never know.
It needs a bit more, I think.
I think it does, yes.
Certainly more than just one person.
I sorry to now crash the mood slightly. I have some slightly concerning news. With one bit which happened about 2 hours ago was that Blackburn have announced that. Well, in fact, they haven't announced. So Tony Mowbray has revealed that he's had no discussion whatsoever about a new contract at Blackburn Rovers.
Oh,
and Blackburn Rovers, of course, being the club that Gareth supported as a boy.
Yes.
And one of those clubs that you always think maybe one day he might go there. His family still live up north. So, yes. And then, since we've been on air, QPR have gone and revealed that Mark Warburton is to leave in the summer. And you think, oh, for goodness sake, do both of those things have to happen on the same day? Queen's Park Rangers, of course, being the club that Gareth is probably best known for playing at.
Yes.
And again, you think, well, could maybe see him managing one day along the A40. Hopefully not, but maybe one day.
Well, if I may counter that with some positivity, hopefully, I did hear some of his pre-match quotes last week, saying that his aim is to, or he's sort of pledged to bring Championship football to Wycombe Wanderers. If it's not this season, then in the coming season.
And he has said that to me as well, actually. But you can't help but be slightly nervous when these positions open up and whatever.
Course.
You do think, it's sort of like, any other managerial position. I can't see that happening these days.
No.
And when sort of random clubs, are linked with Gareth and you think, well, probably not. But two of the clubs that I always am slightly nervous about when he's linked with them are Blackburn and QPR. And to have them both potentially with vacancies on the same day, it just feels a little bit unsettling.
So a moment's pause there. Oh dear. Still to come on the Wycombe Wanderers show, we'll hear from Gareth Ainsworth, as mentioned. But
still Wycombe Wanderers manager.
Absolutely, yes. Hopefully in the repeat of this as well.
Yes.
Future editions of this programme, that remains the case too.
People will be listening to the podcast saying, oh dear, if only they knew. Hopefully not. No, they won't be saying that.
In about 10 years.
Yes.
Perhaps. 10 years, crikey. Perhaps not that long. I don't know.
On the way back, what is it called? Way back when machine?
Yes, that's right.
Yep.
Who knows what will be happening then? But first, Paul Foley, who's head of the Wycombe Wanderers support. What are they called?
Wycombe Wanderers Sports and Education Trust.
I do apologise.
Yeah.
Who are big fans of the show, probably not now, will be getting on his bike very soon to head to Burton for a very good cause. Phil's been chatting to him to find out more.
Paul, the biggest game of Wycombe season away at Burton, the final game of the regular season, early kick-off as well, and you thought you'd make it a little bit more difficult. How are you getting there?
So myself and 3 others are cycling there.
How far is that from Adams Park?
Well, if you're driving, going up the M40, it's probably, I'd say, I don't know, I guess maybe 80 or 90 miles. If you're cycling, it's quite a bit further because we've got to take the country roads, avoid all the traffic. So we're looking at about 130 miles.
Well, first an obvious question, why on earth are you doing this?
Yeah, it's a question I'm asking myself quite a bit, considering the ride is getting ever closer. We are doing it though because it's a fundraiser for Wycombe Wanderers Sports and Education Trust, which I head up. We're the charitable arm of the football club, so we exist in order to use the club brand, the badge, the appeal of the football club to do good within the local community. Being a charity, and particularly in today's day and age, money is always tight, and so this is a way that we're trying to raise a little bit of extra funds for the coffers in order to redirect it back into the local community, into doing good and helping people reach the full potential.
Where can people find out more about the Sports Education Trust? Because you do so many things in the community, like I just said. Where can people find out more?
So there is a link to the charity on the football club's website, but if you did want to find us directly, you just type in WWSET into Google, as in Wycombe Wanderers Sports and Education Trust, and it'll come straight up.
And where can people sponsor you?
Yeah, more importantly, so we have a Just Giving page. So if you go on Just Giving, you can just again type in Wycombe Wanderers or Wycombe Wanderers Sports and Education Trust. Everything will pop up on there.
You're not doing this on your own though, are you?
I'm not doing it on my own, no. I'm silly, but I'm not that silly. I've got 3 other Wycombe fans who are doing it with me. So Steve Baskerville, George Taylor and Keith Archer. So we're doing it together. We're setting off tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m, hoping to get up to Burton in about 14 hours, something like that, depending on how things go.
Wow, I mean, we've got you perched on an exercise bike here, but are you a keen cyclist, Paul?
No, I'm not, but I do like a challenge, and I do like raising money for good causes and to help people as much as I possibly can. I think there's a moral obligation of everyone to help others who are less fortunate than themselves, and that's my personal feeling, regardless of the fact that I do it for a job. So please do sponsor.
Absolutely, and it's not going to be easy because we live in the Chiltern Hills, so there's definitely some hills. It's leaving Adams Park. Is it a fairly tortuous route?
We have planned the route meticulously. We've also driven and cycled most of it. Don't quote me on this, but I think there's something like 1,500 metre vertical climb across the route, but around 70 or 80% of that is within the first 5 to 10 miles. So it's going to be a tough start, but fingers crossed after we get up the Bledlow Ridge Hill, things will become a little bit easier.
Downhill all the way from there?
Well, I wouldn't quite say downhill, but not so many climbs. So, yeah, it's going to be tough on the legs, it's going to be tough on the bottom, but it is all in a good cause, and I'm sure there'll be a few laughs along the way, and we'll look forward to getting up to Burton, having a good night's rest, possibly a drink or two if we can stay awake, getting up bright and early on Saturday morning and getting down to the Pirelli Stadium to cheer the boys and Gareth and the team on.
We're speaking the Thursday before the game, before the cycle ride, so you're doing this on the Friday, so you've got the whole day to get up there and then you can relax.
We've got the whole day and into the evening to get up there. We are finishing at Pirelli Stadium tomorrow, so yeah, we'll get up there hopefully safely, number one priority. It's not a race, it's a marathon, not a sprint, and as long as we all get there safe and sound and in one piece, happy days, and then hopefully topped off by Gareth and the team doing the job on Saturday.
Now there's seating and standing at the Pirelli. I'm guessing you're going to be seating. I don't know what's going to be best for you.
Yeah, it's a bit catch-22 really, because the legs are going to be tired, so we want to be sitting down, but then I'm thinking the bum might be a bit sore as well after spending 13, 14, 15 hours in the saddle. So we've gone for seats, but I might spend much of the time standing, and hopefully that'll be cheering, and if the game's going well, yeah. Ideally, if I've got the energy just to get up out my chair, but listen, this ride is about members of the local community who need help, so I'll put up with the pain. I'm sure that the other lads will as well, but it would be lovely to finish off the weekend with a good result for the club. So yeah, I'll cheer on as much as I can.
Paul Foley from the Wycombe Wanderers Sport and Education Trust. See, I do know it. Chatting to Phil from Wanderers TV, of course.
Very, very impressed. And if you are interested in donating money to the Wycombe Wanderers Sports and Education Trust, you can go on their Just Giving page, which is justgiving.com/WWSET. What does that stand for, Colin?
Wycombe Wanderers Sport and Education Trust.
Hooray!
Who I know are big fans of the show. So thank you very much for your support.
In other fundraising news, the shirts that Wycombe wore in the 2-0 win against Plymouth,
yellow and blue.
Of course were the yellow and blue shirts for the Ukraine fundraiser. They are currently now both being auctioned. Some of them are being auctioned, some of them are being raffled. You can find more information about that on the Wycombe website, wwfc.com. Just having a little look at the auctions at the moment. So far they've raised over £8,000, which is very impressive. If you were looking to buy someone's shirt or bid on someone's shirt, at the moment your best bet is Ollie Pendlebury. His match shirt, £255.
All right.
As opposed to Sam Vokes, £500. Jason McCarthy, £390. JJ, £685.
If you've just tuned in, this is not an auction.
JJ, impressively, actually currently ahead of Adebayo Akinfenwa, 605. Gareth McCleary, 780, of course, scored both goals.
Perhaps his dislike of the franchise that's...
maybe that's why, yes.
Good callback to earlier in the show there. If you just tuned in, that might make no sense to you. I'm hesitant in asking you this, but have you got like a gut feeling about Saturday?
Oh,
that'll do.
Last Saturday was the first time for a while that I've been at a football match and felt really nervous.
Really?
And I do feel really nervous about Saturday now. I can't help thinking back to the last match of last season. Now, obviously, the last match of last season, it was amazing that mathematically we still hadn't been relegated. And clearly nobody went. And I was very lucky in that I got to go to the Riverside as a member of the press. But clearly nobody watching that game that day was expecting us to do anything amazing. But the fact that now you sort of look back on that and you think, actually, if we had been allowed that free kick goal against Derby County, if just one goal had gone in against Derby, it would have made the difference and we would have stayed up. I can't help being slightly concerned that actually we might be in the same situation again this season where, if we miss out, say, just like on one goal, that would be so sickening, because then you go back to thinking of all of those times this season where we've nearly scored, or the injustices this season where you think of Anthony Stewart getting sent off at Stadium MK early on when we were doing really well as well. And so I'm really hoping that it will be really sickening if it's that close. I know that whatever happens, we have to celebrate. We have to celebrate the success of this season. Look how well we've done. For so long, we were very much saying, oh, goodness me, League One and Wycombe Wanderers, we're always going to have the lowest budget. We're always going to struggle. And this season, we've completely turned that on its head, as we have over, obviously, the last couple of seasons. And so let's celebrate where we are now. But yeah, I really hope that actually that we're not spending the whole summer sort of looking back saying, if only.
Now that you've brought that up, it's really strange symmetry, isn't it? When you imagine, just missing out on staying up by a point, and look how close it is now.
Indeed. But as I say, I'm really pleased that Rotherham scored an own goal after 87 minutes in their game on Tuesday night, because it means that MK Dons can go to Plymouth Argyle and still get automatic promotion, and I think that might make all the difference.
Lots to look forward to. Let's get the thoughts of manager Gareth Ainsworth, who I spoke to earlier today, as I say, in the build-up to what is obviously a huge game, Saturday lunchtime.
Obviously, we know what we have to do now, and that's been something we've wanted to know, and obviously it's we're going up to Burton to win the game. We know there's elsewhere we need favours that's happened before. We've got absolutely nothing to lose at all, Wycombe Wanderers. You know, we're in 7th place at the moment, which doesn't get you anything. So we do our job. There's a lot of people trying to hang on to things, and I'm not sure that they can all get the results they need, you know. So we do our job. I'm pretty sure we'll be in these playoffs. But like I say, if favours needed from elsewhere, I'll just be getting the lads fired up and ready to go to Burton to try and win the game.
Does it feel like there's a lot of pressure on both yourself and the team to achieve something? Or as you say, does it just feel like that you're in a great position and it's fantastic that there's so much to play for on the final game of the regular season? 80
points is a total that none of us would have thought wouldn't make the playoffs. You know, we've done more than enough this season, but obviously with the company we've got at the top of the league, it's phenomenal what it's looking like that it might need, you know. So whatever happens, we've had a very, very successful season. I'm really, really proud, and the highest points total ever in this league for this football club, which is brilliant. And as I say, you know, there's no pressure. Go and win another game, boys. Going with a form team in the table at the moment, you know, there's nobody else with better form than us. So go into this game confident. Go into this game and go and win it. And after 46 games, I've always said, judges where we are. If 6 teams better us on 83 points, then wow, what a season they've had, you know. So we've got to hold our hats and you know, say well done. But you know, I'll take 83 points all day, every day in any season, and I'm hoping that will be enough this year.
Does it feel like there's a real feeling of momentum and confidence among the group of the unbeaten run and the fantastic game on Saturday and their brilliant support? Yeah, definitely. You know, the boys are really up for this one. We've had some real injuries running up to this, losing Brandon and losing Anis and Curtis Thompson a bit back, you know, and Jack Young, you know, in training. So we have had some barriers to get over and team selection issues, but I'll have to say that the boys have adapted so well. You know, they've taken on everything I've asked. They've really, really come good at the crucial time of the season, and we're in line for one of our best, you know, finishes ever to a season, which is at the right time for this, you know, this stage, you know, and what's happening in League One. So I'm really proud of the boys, and they've got great momentum. They've got great belief, and that in itself is success. Never mind the points total. Just having a group of boys who know that when they go out on that pitch, they've got a real chance of winning games, and it's brilliant to have. So, you know, Lewis Wing's back. Brandon and Anis are very, very close again, so could play a part, and looking forward to seeing what we can do against Burton. What are you expecting from the opposition? Solid, you know, they don't concede a lot at home. They're very good at set pieces. You know, we've studied them. We know what we're going to have to do. But Burton obviously will want to beat us as well. You know, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank's a very proud man, and proud managers. Teams work very hard, and up at Burton, it's going to be a tough test for us without a shadow of a doubt. Sometimes, you know, the teams with nothing to play for, safety, which he's done brilliantly with Burton. You know, he's achieved League One status again with a club that probably bats lower than a lot of clubs budget wise. So they've had a good season. They've got some good players. You know, if he wants to change a few and have a look at some of the youngsters, I won't be against that. But I think that knowing Jimmy, he'll want to win the game, and he'll want to come up strong and give League One respect, which I'm assuming that every team will do at the end of the season. It's a great league to be played in this season, and I'm just hoping we can get one more win on Saturday. And do you think Burton know what to expect from your team? I thought it was really interesting after the Plymouth game that you surprised them with the style of play, and that you said, you know, you might be playing them again in the playoffs, and you might well surprise them again. Yeah, I think we're unpredictable now. I think we've got this style change that we can adapt. You know, we've still got a big man. We still go into him, which is great, but we've got other options if the big man seems to be marked or seems to be not working, you know. So it's fantastic, you know, to develop this way and to be training now on a fantastic training pitch as well out there, you know, that we've been supplied, that we can work on these moves, work on these little phases of play, you know, that we're seeing in games, you know, that there's no fluke, and that goal on Saturday against Sheffield Wednesday, you know, is something we work on. So, no, really, really pleased and looking forward to seeing what we can do against Burton. And fantastic, I'm sure, to know that the fans are right behind you, you know, selling out the allocation for the game, and obviously so many following back home as well. Yeah, I think we could have doubled the allocation, honestly. I think it's another momentous moment for this club's history, you know, travelling like we do
all over the country in League One, and everybody, the amount of calls I've had and requests I've had to get tickets, it's ridiculous, you know, and I can't, you know, they've all sold out. These are the fans that have been here week in, week out. It's just brilliant to see the same faces and some new faces packing the away ends out now, because people do it to us when they come to Adams Park. We're now doing it to other teams, and you know, the Wimbledons and you know, even the Shrewsburys and things like that earlier in the season, and the Cheltenhams I can remember, you know, that we're brilliant support away from home, and we're going to need it Saturday again. The anticipation is going to be there. We'll obviously have a look on what's going on elsewhere, but first and foremost, I need to win this game.
And what will be your message to the players as they go out on Saturday?
Be proud and be who you are, you know, because at Wycombe we pride ourselves on letting people be who they are and do what they do. And I think that once they cross that white line, they'll know what it's all about. They'll feel it. What a great game to be involved in. You know, what an exciting game to be involved in. And I want them to embrace that moment and embrace those emotions, because whatever happens, don't let this pass you by. You know, embrace it. It's why we're footballers. It's why we're football fans, and it's certainly why I'm a football manager. I love these moments and this time, and feeling absolutely no pressure, feeling plenty of excitement, energised, and can't wait to get into the boys this morning.
And what would you say to the fans going into such a crucial game?
Same. Honestly, sing your hearts out like there's nothing to lose, because there actually isn't. You know, everything's to gain. And make this a proud, for all the away fans who've travelled with us all over the country, make it your proud moment. Give everything you've got, because at the end of the day, if you looked at yourself in the mirror and said, I didn't really give everything, then you might not deserve everything. And you've got to be part of it. My players will be running until they can't run anymore. I'll be jumping around like a lunatic as always. Get the fans, give everything you've got, almost as not a thank you, because we want to say thank you. The players, we don't need you to say thank you to the players. You've been there for us. So what it is almost is a mutual respect thing, that we're all giving everything for one last push for this fantastic football club. And that would be my message to the fans. Just give and give, and the players will be giving and giving. And that's a great recipe for success.
And hopefully you'll have some voice left for Frogfest on Sunday.
Yeah, maybe. I've got a little bit of a chesty cough at the moment. Don't worry, I'm fully up to COVID tests, and it's definitely not that. But yeah, I think probably the weeks of shouting have just suddenly caught up with me right at the end, and Frogfest might have to be a few quieter songs if I get on stage. But it's going to be a great celebration no matter what.
Sounds fantastic. Gareth was due to be singing at a party, he said, if you recall, after the Saturday game. And after this game, this week, he's due to be on the stage at Frogfest.
Frogfest could be very well named if he's all croaky. Sorry.
Very good.
Yes,
I like that.
So shall I give you the permutations on the table one more time then?
Yes.
So the games that we have to look out for then, in fourth place Sheffield Wednesday currently, with 82 points and a goal difference of 25.
This does feel a bit Eurovision.
It does. Sunderland currently fifth, 81 points, goal difference of 25.
Is a late result.
Plymouth Argyle, 80 points, also a goal difference of 25. And Wycombe Wanderers currently just one place outside the playoffs, with 80 points and a goal difference of 23.
80 points is fantastic, isn't it?
80 points is absolutely amazing, and clearly, you know, one of us is going to miss out, and we will then say, you know, how few seasons there have been where a team has missed out on the playoffs with 80 points, because it doesn't happen very often. So the fixtures on Saturday, and a big reminder to everyone going to Burton, they all kick off at 12:30. Okay, 12:30. So set your alarm early. If you turn up at Burton at 3:00, you will have missed it. You'll see people coming away either looking happy or looking sad, but either way, make sure that you are there for the 12:30 kickoff. So obviously we are away to Burton Albion. The other games that you really want to be looking out for: Morecambe at home to Sunderland, Plymouth at home to MK Dons, and Sheffield Wednesday at home to Portsmouth.
I don't know if I feel more nervous now or more confident.
More nervous. I think definitely.
It's real edge of the seat stuff, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, it's exciting and it's wonderful, and it's great that we are still in with a shout. That's where you want to be at this stage of the season.
I was going to say, because so many teams, have nothing to play for,
yeah,
or
indeed, yes,
scrapping to avoid the drop or something like that. But,
definitely.
But it's fantastic to be in this position.
Yeah. You would much rather be in this position than some of the teams, such as the Morecambes and the Fleetwoods. We'd rather be where we are at the moment.
Join us next week to find out how it went and or how it's going
possibly our final show of the season,
Oh, no, it
but
won't be our
hopefully
final.
not.
It definitely won't be our final show.
Will it not?
No. I can tell you that.